Why Fubara may not return as Rivers governor. Welcome to Sinok Media. Kindly subscribe to our page, like, comment, and share our video. Also put on your notification button to get notified of our updates. Is this the beginning and end of Siminalayi Fubara's political venture? Nothing was known about him until when Nyesom Wike, the former governor of Rivers State, adopted him as the choice of PDP for the gubernatorial election. And now his political fortune seems to be hanging in jeopardy, more so as he was recently suspended via the proclamation of a state of emergency in Rivers. Will this signal the end of his career as a politician, or will this launch him into the spotlight as the proverbial cat with nine lives? Let us hear the report. A report has emerged that Siminalayi Fubara may not return as the governor of Rivers State following his suspension and the declaration of a state of emergency in the state by President Bola Tinubu. Fubara's sudden removal has left him without the immunity he once enjoyed under Section 308 of the Nigerian Constitution, exposing him to potential legal battles. There are speculations that his political opponents, who allegedly orchestrated his suspension, could pursue legal action against him, which might lead to his prosecution and possible conviction. If this happens, his hopes of reclaiming his seat as governor could be dashed. The Whistler reports that Fubara's political troubles deepened after a Supreme Court ruling on February 28, 2025, accused him of breaching the Constitution and described the governance structure in Rivers State as ineffective. This ruling set the stage for the emergency rule imposed by Tinubu, which was later defended by the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi. According to Fagbemi, the intervention was necessary to restore order in the state after governance allegedly collapsed under Fubara's leadership. Despite this justification, the legality of the emergency rule has sparked heated debates, with critics questioning the procedural flaws in its ratification by the National Assembly. Before the declaration of emergency rule, there had been attempts to impeach Fubara. However, the impeachment plan failed due to the support he enjoyed from the state's Chief Judge, Simeon Amadi, who was seen as loyal to him. With the impeachment process blocked, those pushing for Fubara's removal turned to the federal government for intervention, leading to the declaration of emergency rule. Now, Fubara faces an uncertain future, with fears that he may be prosecuted for alleged misdeeds while in office. Political analysts have pointed to the strained relationship between Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, as a key factor in the crisis. Wike, who played a major role in Fubara's rise to power, reportedly expected him to remain loyal and govern in line with his directives. However, Fubara's perceived attempt to assert independence from his political godfather is believed to have triggered the conflict that led to his downfall. His sole administrator, Ibok Ete Ibas, has been appointed to oversee the state's affairs, and there are concerns that he may uncover details that could further complicate Fubara's legal troubles. Meanwhile, observers are drawing parallels between Fubara's predicament and past cases of political godfathers clashing with their proteges, such as the infamous rift between former Anambra State Governor Chris Ngige and his godfather in 2003. Whether Fubara can navigate this political storm and return to office remains to be seen. His fate now depends on how the legal and political dynamics unfold in the coming weeks and months. For now, the suspended governor must contend with the possibility that his political career may be nearing its end. That's the report. The probabilities are very high that, just like the report stated, the governor must contend with the possibility that his political career may be nearing its end. But it still depends on how he plays his card. And that is the major difference between a politician and a technocrat. A politician knows how to navigate his way through any course, since politics is about loyalty and interest. And I think Fubara, even though he was recruited from the civil service by former Governor Nyesom Wike, by now should have learned and understand the art of politicking. If the cause of the problem that might likely end his political career is about ego, about him asserting himself as his own man, except he's one person who is willing to give everything up for his beliefs. Otherwise, a rapprochement with Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, I think is the only way out for him. But it depends on Fubara, who seems to have surrounded himself with lots of people who had access to grind with Wike, and Fubara became the cannon folder. But it's still up to him. The permutations concerning what might be the intention of the government may be real after all. Recently, reports came out that the local governments have been asked to submit 2 years report. And I think that those reports, or that report will tally with Fubara's ascension, as the governor. So could it be that they are looking for breaches, in the local government accounts with which they could, go after Fubara? Or, like I posited in an earlier video, that it may just be an administrative routine. One thing is clear: in politics, anything can happen. But it is up to Fubara. I still think if he plays the game very well, and which is simply to return like the prodigal son in the scriptures. When the Bible says he came to his senses and said, "Let me return to my father." Peradventure, if similarly Fubara would adopt the same approach. He may just have a willing father in the person of Nyesom Wike ready to receive him and rehabilitate him. But will Fubara make that move? That will make the difference between being a politician and a technocrat or a civil servant. Do you agree with these views?